Buenos Dias Gunners Collective, back at it like a smack addict. And as you can tell by that thumbnail right there, yes, indeed, we're going to do this again, right? And in that fashion, a menudo style. Trip out, man. So I'm back right here, posted up with the homeboy Wedo to the Inland Empire, right? And we felt that for no other reason, man, we should do some war stories, homie. You know, fuck the bullshit. Fuck the bullshit, brother. Let's get into some war stories. Let's get into some of that real in-depth shit that happened, you know, because we both got an extensive history doing time in prison. The homeboy continues to do his, I did mine. So at the same time, we've done a lot and seen a lot. Nothing to make us think twice, you know. Um, so without further ado, man, let's get into these war stories. Hey, how you doing, brother?
Oh, what's up, bro? How you doing, man? Good morning, huh?
Yeah, man, just posted up chilling, you know. So war stories, bro. Me and you got to talking and we seen a lot of crazy shit, bro. You told a story in your last one, man. That was a little obscene, a little crazy, yet at the same time, homie, intriguing on the fact that shit like that happens all the time, bro. So what's some of the crazy shit you've seen, bro? Let's tell some more stories.
Shit, man, I seen all kind of crazy stuff, man. I seen you name it, bro. Like, I mean, just I gotta think for a second, but yeah, man. I mean, it's not uncommon that you see some of these crazy things that occur in these places. You know what I mean? Just off the top of my head, man. I've seen dudes get gassed where individuals throw fecal matter and urine on inmates. I've seen dudes get speared with a little staples and pieces of metal cable that you plug into your TV. You know what I mean? Just a variety of basically bizarreness and correct craziness, man. I've seen it from where there's mental ill inmates, and it's just way out. Some things that they do, and up there, I remember being in a place and there was someone who was mentally ill, and he was getting his fecal matter, his dookie, his shit, and rolling it into balls and flicking it down the tier. You know what I mean? I mean, that's crazy as hell. That's like super crazy, bro. I've seen dudes where they slit their own wrists being in the shower, and because you don't get razors anymore in your cell, so they'd go to the shower, and then when they're in the shower, they'd get the razor and I seen him just slit his whole wrist. I didn't see him actually slit his wrist, but I remember looking out the door, and this dude, he put his hands out to handcuff up, and he was covered in blood. He was covered in blood.
Yeah, it's a
You know what I
trip,
mean?
bro. I've seen
The
some
other
shit
thing
like
is,
that
that
too.
what I mean?
Go ahead, homie.
Yeah, some crazy stuff, bro. I remember, yeah, crazy, bro. I remember this dude. He came out of his cell, and he was going up to the top tier, and some type of conflict occurred with these bulldogs from Fresno. So when he was going up the stairs, they were gonna gas him, being thrown in fecal matter and crap on him. I mean, I don't know if these dudes are active bulldogs. I don't know what their situation was. I don't know who they were. I just know these individuals were claiming they're Fresno bulldogs. You know what I mean? So as he was going up the stairs, he seen this. He didn't want to get thrown urine and piss and all this stuff back on him in his face and all that stuff. You know what I mean? So what he does is tell the cop, never mind, he doesn't want to shower. So the cops are like, huh? So they walk him back to his cell. So the next guy who comes out the shell, he's a southerner. So they gassed him. Those individuals gassed him, threw urine and stuff on him. So um, what they did is, they got angry at the individual who didn't go up the stairs and said that was considered a form of cowardice. And dude ended up getting stabbed, bro, behind that crap. You know what I mean? That's crazy stuff. You know what I mean? Any person who's a non-affiliate in society, you think they would have walked up there and passed that cell and got fecal matter and urine thrown on them? They would have did the exact same thing that dude did. But because he didn't, I mean, he was declared a coward and they stabbed him.
Yeah,
Crazy. That's crazy. So
that
that's
was
a crazy story, but it's actually factual and true.
yeah, that's a
You know
rock
what I
and a
mean?
hard place. Hey, so trip out on this one, huh? I told this story a while back, bro. Of course, my videos, my content was erased. So let me reiterate it for the people. I was on a certain yarda, bro, and one of the craziest things I seen, bro, I was on that yarda, and some vato walks in, man. He walks in the yarda, and you could tell right off the top. I said, okay, I'm looking out the cell, me and my celly, and I said, all right, he's a Sureno, you could tell, or a Southsider. And he's coming in, he's got the horns on his head. He's he's got, I remember, Flores on his neck, man, meaning that he was from El Monte Flores, right? And whatever the case may be, man, that's his homeboys. He gets with his celly, whatever, bro. I kind of just put him on the tally. Okay, there's another one, and for my cuenta. Anyway, so when we're starting to hit the yard, man, and you know how the design is, bro. Everyone pushes through that sally port right under the control tower. You push through that sally port, and then bam, it opens to the front of the building. There's the yarda, right? So as we're pushing out that sally port, bro, I don't know if they were waiting on this vato. I don't know if he knew something that I didn't know or someone else knew something. But bro, you know how we got those laundry bags? I don't know if they still got them. The laundry bags, they're like the material on them is like stretchy material. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, it's like net,
Yeah, it's like
like
a
a net,
net, right?
almost like a yeah fishing net
Yeah, it's
almost.
like a fishing net, but it's like real stretchy, homie. You know how that's how we go get when you go pick up your packages on the yard or your cantina, whatever the case may be. Everyone puts them in this bags, carries it over their shoulder back into the yard. Um, This Vato had one of
Yeah,
those, bro, and that little skinny dude's walking, bro. We're going to Chow or I think we're going to Chow. And so everyone's suited and booted, and as we're mobbing, bro, this Vato just throws some big ass Vato throws the net around his throat and picks him up over his shoulder, bro, and this Vato just starts cutting his throat. You know what I mean? They just
yeah,
throw him, hey, they drop him right there on the ground,
that's
homie, and everyone's just walking over him like it's not even like nothing happened, bro. And we're just keep on walking. We probably get about halfway to the chow line to the chow hall before they hit the buzzer for man down, right? And I remember
yeah.
everybody was pissed, bro. They weren't pissed because his vato got hit. They were pissed because it was chicken night, and they were wondering if we're still gonna get our chicken. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah,
Hey,
yeah, yeah, yeah. Because of the commonness of violence and
yeah,
disruption of program. From one end, if one inmate right here goes and does some silly stuff right now, or gets into it with an officer, the entire facility is going to be locked down. If not, the whole prison might be locked down. It depends on the situation. When there's a staff assault, they lock it, they slam it, the whole prison. So one man's action can affect 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 inmates.
oh
I
yeah,
mean, when they do walkaways from this one prison I used to be in, where they had a level 1 yard, and they had walkaways, meaning they left the facility because the level ones don't have gates. Um, they locked down the entire facility, man. So when someone's, I mean they didn't care about the dude. They cared about their behavior. That's because they're so accustomed to this violence in these facilities. It's common. It's very common.
yeah,
I don't know now. I see it. I see it, but years ago it was serious violence. And then now you see it, man. Somebody comes up short and someone comes up dead here or there. You see it on the news or read an article. But for the most part, the chaos, the complete and absolute chaos, when everybody was in the isolation chambers, has ended. I
yeah.
mean, it ended with the end of hostilities, and it ended with because now you have leadership there. The leadership knows you rock the boat, and you bring the man, you bring the heat. So nobody rocked the boat. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah,
Nobody do
exactly.
anything that they're not supposed to do. Well, all that stuff's still on appeal in regards to them being out.
Oh
I mean, they
yeah.
could lose that appeal.
Oh, no doubt
I mean,
about
I
it,
don't
bro.
know.
If you think that's what I was telling individuals, if you think CDCR is not wants these guys out here who are just fraternizing with the general population, bro, you got another thing coming, homie. They want those guys nice and secure in a housing unit where they can't reach out and touch nobody, bro. And so, like I said, man, that's gonna be stay in appeal in years. And at the same time, bro, believe that one side is fighting for one thing and the other side is definitely fighting for the other.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, and they know that too, and they know it too, and I think that they know that. I mean, maybe this is just too good to be true, man. They can't believe it themselves.
Yeah,
And
absolutely. It
and
is,
we'll
bro.
see how things unfold after that. Because I'll be real about something, right? After I did all those years and all that stretch and all that chaos and all them years in the hole, I ended up going to the hole later on for 28 days. And I'll be real about it, man. Them 28 days killed me, bro. Them 28 days killed. That's a war story in itself. Just the psyche. How does the human psyche live in isolation for so many years as I did for almost 13 and a half years? And and um and then I go to the hole later on for 20 days and I'm dying.
Hey,
You know what I mean?
you know what
So
I
I mean, it's just
yeah.
weird.
You know what I think it is, brother? What I think it is okay, so when you first got incarcerated, according to your story, bro, um the oil was pretty much all you knew. So that was commonplace, bro. You were striving. That's where everybody that was anybody was. So being in that mix, your mind was desensitized to the linea. Fuck the linea. You know what I mean? You're out there where you're in the oil where it's
Oh
really
yeah,
going on, right? So So that's how
Yeah,
your mind. See, it's not about the body. The body will adjust to anything. It's about the mind, homie. Your mind got accustomed to that. It became commonplace where that's all that there was, right? So now that you've had a
yeah,
little
for real.
taste of the better life, now you've been out there on the yarda. You know, you're used to watching your TV shows, homie. You know, hey, if you're hungry, homie, you can reach under that bunk and grab you, you know, a little this, a little that. You and your cell, you got a program. You guys are gonna eat. You go into your class, whatever the case may be, bro. You're setting your routine. So then when you get a little hiccup, homie, and you go to that oil, that 28 days, bro, is fuck. You know what you're missing out on. You're like, fuck. You know what I mean? I've been in the same
Yeah, yeah,
exact
yeah. Because
situation, bro.
yeah, because and let me touch on the shoe real fast, just for listeners who don't know what the security housing unit is. Security housing unit is jail and prison. So when you do a crime in prison, you go to jail. Where you go to the jailers, you go to the ADSEC, which is the hole, and then from there they sentence you, and then you go to the security housing unit. That's what that is. That's jail and prison. The shoe security housing unit. So the thing is, what you're allowed to have in a security housing unit is nothing. You're allowed to have a TV or a radio, a very small radio without a speaker, and a TV without a speaker. You gotta listen with your headphones. All right, you're allowed canteen $55 a month, and all the products of the canteen have to be removed. So, for example, if you order bags of chips or soups or candy, anything is removed from the packaging, and they give it to you in brown paper bags. Any hygiene project, as far as shampoo, deodorant, lotion, lotion's not allowed back there. What they do is they squeeze it out into paper cups with these little paper lids. So I mean, there's nothing back there, bro. You don't have any clothing. Years later, then they started giving them shorts, but that was barely recently. For all those years, man, we wore boxers. We wanted longer socks that went, a little bit above our ankles or our shins. What we do is we cut the sock off at the tip and sew another sock onto it, and then we'd only pull that down to the end of our shoe and then pull the rest of the sock up so you couldn't see it. Because when you went to that yard in wintertime, it was cold and the yard was required. So it was very cold. We didn't have thermals. The only people that had thermals were dudes with arthritis. They'd go to the medical and complain about arthritis, and the doctor would issue thermals. Other than that, I never had no thermals. Other than when somebody paroled, I came up, a dude looked out for me or whatever. But I never got issued no thermals or no chronos. No, we wore boxers. If you wanted longer boxers, you cut another pair of boxers, hold them down from where the seams at, and sew onto that boxers for them to be having longer shorts. You know, and years later, dudes end up learning how to. Some dudes end up coming around and figuring out how to make us like long shorts out of the sheets. But they even sew a waistband in them. You know what I mean? I remember I got a pair of those the first time, and man, I was like, wow, man, hell yeah. Because I've been wearing boxers for years. Because the only clothing you have is boxers, socks, jumpsuit, and like 2 t-shirts, maybe 4 pair of socks or 5 pair of socks, 2 pair of boxers, and or maybe 3 pair of boxers. 3 pair of boxers you're allowed, and a jumpsuit, man, and state shoes. You're not allowed personal shoes. Pelican Bay is allowed personal shoes. Corcoran is now allowed it, but years ago they weren't. And you know what? In Corcoran for years they didn't even sell toothpaste. They issued you free tooth powder. Pelican Bay always sold toothpaste. But as far as canteen items and things that you can possess yourself, everything's removed from your packaging. It's put in paper bags. So if you don't eat them chips pretty fast, they're going real stale real quick. It's all crackers and all the little goodies. But yeah, man, the shoe ain't no joke. The shoe ain't no joke, man. And that's a war story in itself. It doesn't even require biting or anything else. Just the truth about what it is. It's jail, and we freeze our butts off going to that yard, and you have nothing back there for years and years and years, just like that. So I mean, the brain adapts to the way it adapts, for whatever reason, man. But them 28 days, boy,
No,
they
I'm telling you.
stung.
Hey, so
They
so
stung.
let's get speaking on the shoe, bro. Since we're there already, let's talk about the door policy between the two group factions, right? As far as we're talking about
Mm-hmm.
the Mexican Mafia and the NF, there was a door policy that came about, bro. Can you speak on that? Do you know the details on that door policy and why that was implemented?
Yeah, it was just because they needed to get some type of track record to show that the hostility is actually actual and actually true, and that where these individuals that were rival factions for so many years could now even be allowed to go back into their to the yards and program amongst each other. When they had been rivals for so many years. It's crazy to think, right now, you got brothers out there from the north and Emmett and out there all programming together in Kumbaya. You know what I mean? You know, it just shows what the deprivation did of being isolated in the security housing unit for 30 years. It made them submit.
Mm-hmm.
It made them, it broke them, bro. In truth, it broke them because if these were their rivals for so many years, how could you now say, hey, you know what? The war has never ended. How can you now, because the CDC is willing to let us out, let's end this war based on the cops? Which is a trip, bro. Which is a trip. But I mean, at the end of the day, they wisened up too. That those wars and those violence situations of so many years resulted in a whole lot of loneliness in these isolation chambers, security housing units. So I mean, it's really great that they did do that, man. In all honesty, but in truth, man, them places, bro, they ain't no joke, bro. And in the hostilities, that's what it was, to get some track record to show that the California Department of Corrections, that hey, man, that we can program together. We are willing to program together. Please let us out of the hole. Please let us out of the security housing unit. Please stop torturing us. You know what I mean? And and the courts agreed, man. The courts agreed that it was not justified that you would isolate everybody based on the actions of some of the group, basically. So if I just came in and I was already a made member, I'd go straight to the hole. I didn't do anything. Maybe I just did federal time and I came to the state, and now they're putting me in the hole. For what? Because I'm being isolated based on the behavior of select individuals within the other group. And the court agreed that you can't penalize people based on those type of situations. You can't lock up an innocent bro and put him in the hole based on actions of few within that group. So, anyways, they needed to show the California Department of Corrections that they can program amongst each other and get along. And so far they have completely got along, which is good, man.
Yeah, it's been going on 8 years now,
Which is
bro.
good,
It
bro.
seems just like yesterday, but for 8 years they've been maintaining on them yardas, and you're gonna look at it two different ways. Just like you said, man, the war never ended. So to look at it from a gangster's point of view is like, Charlie, homie, you're letting the placas dictate your program, right? But then to look at it from a feasible, a normal point of view on the other side, it's like, yeah, man, hey, maybe these vatos finally got their shit together, and are really thinking, homie, and tired of the games and tired of the frivolous antics and politics that go into that, right? But at the same time, man, the beat will never stop. The beat goes on, like the whisper said, bro, and they're gonna continue to politic, whether they're behind them walls or they're on them yardas. That's just the way it is. That's life, right? There's a lot going
Yeah,
on.
that's right.
You just put these guys in more a position to have more access to the honeypot, you know. But anyways, so trip out.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, so war stories, bro. Like I said, man, I can go into detail. I could talk about a lot of things, bro. I talked about, and I'll tell you a little one, bro. I was in Tracy, and at that time, I know you don't know the northern politics like that, but we have a COC, right? We had a COC, which basically was a chain of
Yeah.
command, and everyone held a position, if you were within that COC. Everybody was embraced once you were cleared to be in that a soldado in the casa and to assist the house. But at the same time, man, there was a COC, a selected few, and we had tier securities, yard securities, building channels, overalls, AICs, authority in charges, NTs, which were the Northern Maestros, the teachers, the ones that laced everyone up, gave them essays to write. Um, at this time, bro, I had elevated my status and elevated myself to becoming a building channel, which was pretty high up there, not the highest, but I basically was in control of the block, the building, and I was on J Wing and Tracy, bro, and so my position was to overlook the basically the hit squads, basically all the intricacies and all the things that happened within that building, was put on my plate. And this Vato from Tracy, the city of Tracy, was rolling up, man, and we were waiting on him. There was some bad paperwork on him, so he was to be removed when he got to Tracy. It was only a matter of time. His crime partner was already over there on H Wing pushing the paperwork on him. It was only a matter of time before he pulled up. So that paperwork was sent to my cell, and I'm sitting there reading it, homie, and I just laid my eyes on the paperwork when the Vato walks in. I start hearing, because we'd have people watching, out of the cells, And I hear someone say, "Hey, new arrivals on J, new arrivals on J." That, and everyone would go to their windows, kind of see who it is, if they knew the individuals or whatever the case may be. And I look out, and sure enough, homie, the description is right there. Some vato named Hector Verbis, Crow from Tracy. There he is, homie, rolling up. How I knew? Because he had a big old XIV on the side of his cheek, right? So I start sign languaging the homeboy downstairs, who was the overall at the time. Hey, the eagle has landed, right? And we started getting right to it, homie. Hey, palomas, huilas, canas, whatever you call them, they all started to fly, bro. We started to implement the process of the removal. I mean, immediately. And of course,
Yeah, yeah.
what was gonna happen was we were gonna go to the yarda. Uh, I wanted this guy removed right at yard recall. Yard recall and Tracy, you all get in these long lines. You all start to walk back to your building according to the number of the building and how the placas do it. And for some reason or another, man, I told a story that when you're coming out to that Yardan Tracy, K-Wing, which is the oil, is right to the side, man. He started to communicate with them, and the placas told him to turn around and take it back to his building. So this was, that in itself, homie, is you can get deemed for that. You know what I mean? Um, but
Yeah.
but second of all, bro, I mean, this guy was already on a one way ticket to nowhere. So now I had to rethink it. So I remember I got the little hit squad together real quick, my squad leader, and I said, this is what I want done. I said, bring his celly over here. So now, because he did that, now his celly was gonna have to, play his part in it. So his celly was Wino from Sanho, and I told him, hey, trip out. This is what I want, bro. As soon as I want you to be in front of that line. I want you to run up there to the cell. And as soon as these doors are all cracked in Tracy, you run up in your cell, you grab your garbage can, and you tell him, hey, go throw that in the garbage out there on the tira. And then when he goes out on the tier, I'm going to have two hitters on him, right? We're going to throw his ass over the tier. And that's pretty much how it worked out. Besides him getting thrown over the tier, he gets back up. The homie Weiner runs up in the cell, tells him, hey, bro, go throw that trash. Him being new, he thinks it's all good, bro. So he goes to take that trash, and that was that, bro. I had two young hitters on him. And at this time, we weren't using weaponry because we had just got a dictation from the base saying not to use weaponry for removals based on they were tired of us being on lockdown in Tracy. We weren't able to facilitate any information. Back in them days in the Bay, man, mail was running 3 months behind, right? So they wanted us to
Yeah,
stay
for
up to
real.
they wanted us to stay up to par as much as they could as far as being able to transfer information, because a lot of guys were wiggling at this time and able to skate by, bro, just based on these big homies weren't able to facilitate their information back and forth. So yeah, man, this dude hits that tier. I had two youngsters on him, bro, and all I could say is there was blood from one cell down to the 11th cell, bro. They fucking whop. You know what I mean? They did something bad to him. And I remember I was just looking out of my cell watching, because the line movement came in, and then it was just another day. Then it was what's for chow. You know what I mean? And move on to the next one.
Yeah, bro, it's because those things, yeah, you know how it is in those environments. Like it's considered all business. It's just business. It's nothing personal, and also you're not really allowed or permitted to discuss those things. I mean, it's frowned upon. It's taboo to discuss business that's occurred. Like things happen, and pretty much you might privately discuss the situation with your cellie, but that's it. You don't go to yard and you be talking about that stuff. I mean, it would be it's viewed as taboo. I mean, there's no rule written per se, rule number this that you can't do that, but it's definitely taboo to do that, man. You don't do it. It's what's done is done, and what's done is done. I mean, it's just the way it is. I mean, that type of language and thinking, But yeah, man, just even for myself, man, like I've been through some crazy stories, bro, some crazy stuff, and and yeah, man, I'm just thinking of one to tell you, bro, that would maybe not be so graphic, but I'm thinking in my mind, man, most of the ones I've been around have been mostly really graphic. The reason why is because it's a level 1, level 4 yard. Level 4 yard with a lot of committed individuals, which is pretty much everyone because you're on a level 4 for a reason. I mean, like I said earlier, or on some other little thing, that these guys is level 1s and level 2s. Like, let me tell you this story about being in the streets and then coming to prison. Okay, in the streets, I was out there. I got all my homeboys. They're all tatted back, bro. They're all yoked up. They're all buff, right? I remember like one time my homeboy was telling me, man, like, the thing, the reason why I don't kick it with you homies is because you don't know what it's like. I just left the war zone. I just left Chino. I just left Palm Hall. So that's what he's saying, right? And I just remember that. I remember that conversation, man. Um, so when I end up coming to prison, man, and as I start to learn the ropes about just jails, what facilities are what facilities. Prison is not just prison. Just like any mall, it's just not the mall, or any store within the mall. It's not just a store within the mall. Prisons all are different. And if a guy came from this joint or this prison, what's up over there? Or what's going on in this prison? What's going, especially with time you do, with years you do. You start to get an idea of what's occurring with all these facilities. So when an individual drives up from Pelican Bay, from New Folsom, from Salinas, from from these hard, from Kern Valley, from Calipatria. Years ago, Calipat was really, really solid. Now it's back there again, but it got soft for a lot of years. Right? Early '90s, Calipatria was Calipatria. Now then it became Calipat. You know what I mean? And now it's back to Calipatria. A gangster joint, no doubt. But so just knowing that, knowing where people come from, I realized that the individuals I was in the streets with were my homeboys. Like most of them had come from real sorry ass joints. They came from Chuckawalla level 2. My homeboy Chuku, he's super hardcore, bro. He's even hardcore today. He was in Jamestown fire camp, running up and down hills with fire hoses, eating steaks because they feed them dudes real good food. One time, a friend of mine named Gloria said that she went and seen a Chuco in Jamestown, and she said, "Hey, you know what? They didn't even have gates around it." You know what I mean? But these were dudes that were coming back to the neighborhood. These are the dudes that pumped me up, that pumped my generation and my little homeboys of my age group. These are the dudes that pumped us up. You know what I mean? And I come to join it. They were in some sorry places, bro. Where they send me is 1,000 times, different. I mean, I went to violent places. They went to places with no community, no gates, bro. So that's a war story in itself. In that, you know what? These people that are listening, or these kids that might be hearing this, or somebody who might hear this, who can tell their nephew, like, "Hey, man, don't believe your homeboys." And another thing is this is we're real gangsters that the dudes that did a lot of whole time. You don't really see tattoos, bro. You do on here or there. It's cherry picked. Once in a blast, someone's gonna blast it up. The reason why they don't got tattoos is there's no ability to get it back there. There's nothing back there in the hole. So how am I gonna get tatted back? How am I gonna get sleeves? How am I gonna blast my neck or my whole back? You don't. So when you see a dude back in society and they're all tatted back, all that means is they've been sitting on a real low level facility where they can kick it, and there's nothing going on there. Because to get tattoos, it takes a lot of time, man. There's a lot of effort in the tattooing. You gotta burn, you gotta get a needle, you gotta make a barrel, you gotta get a motor, you gotta get an adapter, you gotta make sure your needle's sharpened correctly. You gotta get patterns. You gotta, it takes a lot of time to tack. I tattoo too, and it takes a lot of time, bro. A lot of time. So when you see these people in society, they're all blasted back, and they're fronting like they're real tough and hardcore, and they're all about that. Like keep in mind that the truth is, probably about 8 out of 10 of them guys are really not hardcore. They're really not about that life. They're fronting. They're fronting, and they're acting like they're about that life. Because in truth, man, dudes have sat in the back and sat on the curb, sat on the shelf for years and years and years. The real gangsters, I mean, them dudes they don't have no tattoos for the most part because the ability to get them wasn't there till barely, the end of hostilities.
You
A
ain't
lot of
lying,
people are
bro.
getting tatted now. They're taking advantage. They're waiting. They're taking advantage of the opportunity. I got a homeboy Chino, man, and he be fronting out there like man, he be fronting like a motherfucker out there, bro. He going to the park and fronting to these kids. He's all blasted back, and he's another one, bro. He's been in these non-gated prisons. No electric wire, no electric fence that will kill you. That the voltage is so high, if you touch that fence, you'll die. Not that you could ever get to that fence. There's gunners everywhere with mini 14 guns. In every tower, there's a gun. You can even get 50 yards to that foot before they start shooting if they seen you. Then
Yeah,
you
ain't
got to
no
get.
doubt about it.
There's no way. But
Nope.
but yeah, homie, just crazy. I remember being in a car one time with a good friend of mine, and tells me, "Hey, Güero." I'm like, "Yeah, what's up, bro?" Like, and I used to look up to the dude, and he tells me, "Man, he's telling me like a story about prison, and he was another one that when they went and visited him, they says, "Hey man, you know, Joe was over there in that prison, and it didn't even have fucking fences." You know what I mean? And these were the dudes that pumped us up, bro. I mean, it's unfortunate, man. It's unfortunate, man. Not all war stories are violent. You know what I mean? Or
No,
violent
hey,
in
nah,
nature.
nah, bro.
I mean,
Hey, I hear
I
you.
guess they are, huh? Because I guess they are, because that's why they're called war stories, huh? But
Nah, hey, but you know what, homie?
yeah,
Wars,
man.
wars. Hey, I've been taught a long time ago. War is what you make of it, homie. It could be a war out there with weaponry, or it could be a war with oneself in your mind. You know what I mean? Um, you're always
Or
at
war on
war.
paper, bro. Like these dudes have been in war. The M and the NF when we're at war for 30 years or 30 plus years, and in them 30 plus years, I don't think anybody's almost like North Korea and South Korea.
No
They're
one's
at war, but there's nobody shooting. Nobody's shooting bullets at each other.
exactly.
Nobody's dying.
It was just
You
a
know what I mean?
defensive stance war, bro. It was a, and that's what I tell people. People are
It was a
like, yeah,
Cold War. It was the Cold
it
War,
was a
bro. It
Cold
was like
War,
the
homie.
Cold War.
Yeah, hey, a lot of people see
Yeah.
that they say, oh, North and South, the war's been going on for 50 plus years, 30 years. All right, well, trip out. Within the 30 years, how many times did each group segment shoot each other, chanate and frajos and whatever else that they brought in there? You know what I mean? It was
Yeah,
more a,
yeah, yeah, yeah. Hey,
it
you
was,
drove up. You don't got no. None of your homeboys are right here. Here's a care package with coffee and deodorant and
yeah,
toothpaste. Yeah, how many of them North Koreans, bro, are giving them South Koreans or vice versa care
exactly.
packages? You
Exactly.
know what I
See, so
mean?
what it comes down to, bro, and that shows right there, basically, bro. Um, Chicanos, right? Chicanos. At the end of the day, bro, we're a very respectful people. That regardless, bro, because I know I used to feel some type of way, man. If there was if I seen a Sureño, bro, and I didn't care, man. I already knew A was on and cracking. Any little slightest, if you looked at my tattoos, I looked at whatever. But at the same time, bro, if I seen another group faction, another group, a different race, bro, talking back to him, oh, I felt some type of way, homie. I felt some type of way. Immediately, all that other shit went out the door, and it was like, "Hey, bro, what you need my assistance or what?" You know what I mean? Right off the
Yeah,
top,
yeah, it's crazy,
and
homie.
it's
Yeah,
just, and that
yeah,
all comes down to being brown, being proud, being a Chicano, bro, and that's why I push the narrative, and that's why I push the unity, and it's not a oh guns just trying to push the unity. Nah, there's no fucking if ands or buts about it. There's no, I don't benefit from this other than man, my people prospering together as one. That's it, man. Just to smile, homie. That's all I want to get out of this is a smile. You feel me? So,
yeah, yeah,
hey,
yeah. Hey, damn, you know what? There ain't nothing wrong, homie. This is what Mondo from Ontario told me, man. And years and years ago, he told me, sit down, man. Let's talk. We were just talking a general conversation, right? And he tells me, man, this long lengthy story, but he tells me, hey, man, hey, because I was in a leadership role position for another member, and he was just giving me some advice, man, that just no matter what I did in regards to that leadership position where I was controlling people in yards and facilities, that just to always have a heart for your people, man. I mean, you know what I mean? To have a heart for your people, and you can't go wrong, homie. So in saying that, in this platform, having a heart for your people, bro, like you want to see your people get it. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing
absolutely,
wrong with that. You know what I mean?
abs-
I mean, you got to have a heart for your people, regardless of what's done and what's said in our past. It is what it is, man. But I mean, the thing is, this is your people are still your people, and
indeed.
I would love to. I want to see my people succeed too. You know what I mean? I don't want to see any other people not succeed, but I mean, there's pride in seeing success amongst your own, in promoting unity amongst your own. I mean, this is a Caucasian environment. This is a Caucasian government. I mean, you look at the numbers in the Senate, you look at the representation through course of history of all the presidents. There ain't nobody brown up there. You know what
Exactly.
I mean,
That's
they
that.
barely got a black one. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Other than that, it's no mystery of the history of this country's you know a race, and they're promoting themselves too. So there's nothing wrong with having a heart for your people and want to see your people succeed, man. Want to see your people regardless who, how, what, where. It don't
Everybody.
matter. I
Every.
still wish you the best, my bro.
Yeah, man.
You know what I mean?
Everybody's trying to win,
Uh,
man. So with that being said, bro, we're gonna go ahead and end this one right here. Man, I appreciate you again, Weddle, man, for the knowledge, homie, for the insight into the intricacies of what goes on in there in prison, man. For the war stories, homie. You know what I mean? Not a lot of people have them, and I know you don't get it. It's kind of rough, homie, when you're trying to change your life and do something different, homie, to get your mindset on what happened. So many things have happened, bro, to get. to get into that, and that's understandable, quite understandable, my brother. At the same time, man, I'm glad we're on the same note, homie. I'm glad that we're able to sit down and discuss these things. And with that being said, man, I hope that the gente out there move fast with a purpose. That's called hustling. I hope that you keep in mind, man, that vatos that are going through the struggle, like the homeboy right here, man, that continue to do it. First and foremost for things that were done, and also for the people, man, so that people, these youngsters, man, he shares his story so that way, man, you can find a different path, a different way. You know what I mean? And it's like that. Anyways, gracias, bro. I appreciate your time, and we're gonna do it in that fashion. Bang, bang, the gun.